Hey everyone, it's Alexander Concepcion with TacoStreetLocating.com. This is my 2025 guide to apartments in downtown Austin. In this guide, I'm going to take you through all of the different parts of downtown Austin and the apartments in those areas to give you a better idea of what areas of downtown and the apartments in downtown that you should be looking at if you're looking to live in downtown. So I'm going to start with the main part of downtown, this western part of downtown that has most of the apartments and gives you the most classic downtown experience in the city. I also kind of call this the Trader Joe's part of downtown over here. So just get in it. We have this building, Gables Park Tower, and Gables Park Plaza. These two buildings go together pretty well. It's the same style of building. It's the same company that owns and manages them, Gables. Both of them are pretty nice. Gables Park Tower is a high-rise that overlooks the water, has really beautiful views, whereas Gables Park Plaza is a mid-rise that isn't as high, but they're still both nice. Park Tower is going to be a little bit nicer. This specific area is nice because you have access to this beach park. If you have a dog, that's really easy to go for a walk. This area gives you great access to the hike and bike trail. So you can just leave the building here and go for a run, for a bike, whatever you want to do. And there's some coffee shops and restaurants in this area. You have Trader Joe's here and the Sea Home District with a few like bars and restaurants. So just for pure residential experience, this area around here is going to be really good. So also in this area, you have the Bowie right behind these two. Actually, one thing I forgot to mention. So the main downside with these two Gables properties is the train that runs through this area over here. It's a loud freight train that comes by multiple times a day at random hours, and it's a pretty loud screeching train. And it just may not be what you're looking for. So if you're sensitive to train noise, to loud noises, then these two buildings may not be for you. So on to the next one, Bowie, right behind it. Super nice, really cool high-rise building with kind of this funky rock star type feel. All of the amenities are on the top floor. So the gym, pool, community lounge area is all on top. Super nice views. If you want to maximize for views, this is the case for all of downtown. You want to be facing west or south. South gives you really nice lake and river and South Austin views, whereas the west facing units give you a nice hill country sunset view. With the Bowie, it's a super nice building, but the main problem, the management, is not that great. The reviews here are 3.6, which is just not good for a downtown building. If you're going to be spending downtown prices, then you should get better management than that. Of course, these things can change based on what company is managing the building and the leasing staff that's there. But right now, the reviews on the Bowie kind of make it a tough building to really recommend. Nearby there, you have a slightly older building, the Monarch by Windsor. The Monarch is an older building from like 2008, I think. And all of the amenities are on the ground floor, the pool, the gym, the community space. So that makes it not super interesting, just in terms of like overall luxury compared to what else you can get in downtown. But you do have big floor plans that have big balconies. So if the price is right, then this place could be interesting. But if you're looking for something on the higher end, like really nice, this is just not going to be the one. Then going a little bit further down, Gables West Avenue, it's also known as the L West Avenue right now, is a older mid-rise building. It's not a high-rise. It's a good location for a building. It's right across from Trader Joe's, close to the Whole Foods headquarters, right here. So the lifestyle here has a lot going for it. The building itself isn't that interesting. The floor plans are really weird. The building is pretty old in comparison. So if you want to optimize for location and sacrifice building quality, you're fine with that. This building is going to be interesting. Next to it, the 404 Rio Grande, pretty much the same exact story as the L West Avenue right here. It's a little bit nicer, but a little bit more expensive. I don't have a lot of clients that go here, kind of for those reasons. Going back over this way, because skip this one, is the Amley 300. This one's a location play, and that's kind of it. The building's not super nice. It's a mid-rise. It's kind of like the L West Avenue over here, just a little further this way. The location is not as good because it's right on North Lamar. The train goes by it, but you can get really good prices here compared to the rest of downtown. So again, if you really want to be in downtown, but you don't want to pay middle of downtown prices, this one is going to be one worth looking at. Going further over here, you have like this cluster of 3 buildings that kind of tie in together because they're all kind of the same. 5th Street Commons, Pressler, and the Clark. The Clark is the newest and the nicest. Then goes to Pressler, then 5th Street Commons. It's all kind of the same story. Nice mid-rises, close to downtown, but you don't pay downtown prices. Only the Clark you're likely to pay downtown prices for not being in downtown. That's why a lot of my clients usually go elsewhere. But if you want something that's like cozier, more neighborhoody, but you still want to be able to walk to downtown or walk to the cluster of stuff along this area, then these 3 buildings could be worth looking at. Again, the main problem with like the 5th Street Commons and the Clark is going to be the train that comes by along this route, along 4th Street. Then getting back into downtown, we'll go along West 6th. So West 6th is a big kind of bar party zone, which is kind of the main issue with it. It gets pretty busy on the weekends. It's a big like college sports and overall sports bar area. A lot of like with a few nightclubs. So here is the 7. So the 7 is another high rise that just should have better reviews. The 7 doesn't really win or lose in many categories. It is a very nice building, has good amenities, has really nice west-facing units, some really good south-facing units. But the problem with the south-facing ones is that they are going to be overlooking all these bars and clubs over here. So that could be annoying just for noise. The units facing north and west are going to be a little bit more quiet, more residential. But still, you're kind of in the middle of all this action. And the reviews don't seem to be very good right now. So again, it's going to be a price play at best. If you find good prices there and you like kind of the quality, then that's going to be the only reason it wins. Other than that, there's not a ton that's like hyper compelling specifically about the 7. Then you have the residences at 6G. This is the best building in Austin, hands down. I've been in this business for 8 years, and this is a ridiculously nice building. It's one of these hybrid office buildings, apartment complexes that are kind of a new thing. So the bottom half of the building is all commercial, and the top half of the building is residential. And the residential units start, I think, the 35th floor. So the lowest residential units here are already some of the highest units in the city. So they go from the 35th, I think, to the 55th floor. So you get the absolute best views in Austin at the 6G. Of course, the prices are going to reflect how absurd this building is, but they have everything from a cold plunge, massive gym, Beautiful pool, really good amenities like lounge and like hangout areas and spa area. Nothing compares to this building. It is the number one. It might be until the next ones I'll get into later open up. But for the time being, if budget is not something you're worried about and you want the best, this is the one. If you don't mind going a little bit lower end in comparison, are the Hanover buildings. That would be the Hanover Public Square and the Hanover Brazos. That's somewhere over here. So even though there's slightly different areas, might as well talk about them together. They're basically the same exact building, both built around the same time. The Hanover Brazos is a little bit newer. These would be the number 2 and 3 nicest buildings in Austin. They have rooftop amenities that are super nice, pool, amazing, beautiful co-working areas. So if you work from home and you want like a nice home office to post up in, these would be the best places. They're absolutely stunning. The management teams are really good. Hanover buildings always have like really high reviews. They got 4.8, which is super high, and kind of the same thing with the Brazos. I've had a lot of people lease at both buildings because they're just so nice. The Hanover Public Square is going to be a little bit of a busier zone in comparison. There's just more traffic along 5th Street. It's closer to 6th Street, and there's just more activity happening around here. Whereas the Hanover Brazos is more in a low-key commercial zone surrounded by office buildings and hotels. So that's kind of the only difference between the two. But if your budget's really high and you want something that's really good, you're going to see these two buildings. No questions. Then behind the Hanover Republic Square is the Gables Republic Square. This one's really interesting because it's one of these hotel apartment hybrids where it's actually 2 buildings next to each other, and one of the buildings is a hotel, the Hotel Zaza, and the other building is the Gables Republic Square. In these kind of buildings, if you're a resident, you're not on the same floor or interacting with the hotel guests, so you do have a separate independent lifestyle, but you do have the benefit of having this really cool hotel interior design where it is a lot more interesting than a lot of the other buildings. So I like this place a lot. The pool is on the rooftop. It's not super high, the building, but all the amenities like the rooftop, the gym are all great. You have some bars and restaurants inside of the building. So all the finishings and interiors are really good here. So for quality, this one is going to be pretty high up there, even though the exterior of the building isn't super interesting. But the interior is like surprisingly nice, considering like the more toned down exterior. So going a little bit down, we have the Amalie on 2nd here. I'll just kind of talk about these two together. The Amalie downtown and the Amalie on 2nd, both Amalie buildings. Amalie is kind of known for like lower high end, so they're a little bit older, and the design is it's good enough. It's not gonna be like swanky luxury, but like generic modern. So where both of these buildings they lose for their luxury, but they make up for their value. Especially the Amalie downtown, it's a mid-rise building, but they have huge floor plans, like 1 bedrooms in like the 700 to 900 range. The 2 bedrooms, like 1,200 plus square feet. And they kind of have these lofty industrial kind of like interiors where you just get like a ton of space for the price. I like this one a lot. I think it's the best value for the space and walkability. in downtown. So a lot of my clients lease there. Emily on Second, high rise, kind of same story design wise. If you want like a really good view, you're gonna want to get something facing south that faces the river, because the ones facing north face an office building. Um, so kind of the same thing. It's more of a value play than a luxury play, but it's good. So then comes the Ashton, which is in pretty close to South Congress. This is going to be more of a commercial zone. The Ashton is more of a, like, at this point, like a vintage classic high rise. And it kind of has this like older feel to it. I'm not a huge fan of it, to be honest. It's nice. They have big floor plans, good southern facing views, but it just feels like really dated. Um, and if you're going to spend this kind of money, then I think might as well just get something nicer, like at the Hanover buildings or something like North Shore. Yeah, I think you could just do a little bit better. Speaking of the North Shore, I think I skipped over that one somewhere. Yeah, there you go. North Shore is one of the preeminent buildings in downtown. Super, super nice. It is so. I think I should go to the downsides. It's flanked by a lot of other buildings, like the Google building, kind of on both sides. So a lot of the units are going to be blocked by buildings, at least like the views are. But if you can get pretty high up, then you can get some really good views and kind of have a really good living experience here. The amenities aren't on the rooftop, but they do face the water. And it's a really nice amenity deck. There's a lot of on-site co-working spaces, so if you're looking for a place to work from home, there's some good options here. It does have a little bit of a generic corporate vibe. So stylistically, it's not as interesting as something like the Bowie or the Gables Republic Square. But overall, the North Shore is very, very nice. For something that in the higher budget, this is definitely going to be one of the ones you'll be considering. So keep that one in mind. Going back into this more commercial part of downtown is the Whitley. Not a huge fan of the Whitley. It kind of feels like a corporate office in apartment form. It doesn't have much style. The amenities are like okay. They're on like the middle of the building rather than the top of the building. It's more of a value play. I think the only way this is going to win for this tier of building is if they have something that's really cheap compared to the other high rises. And this part of downtown, I'm just not as big of a fan to live in because it's more commercial oriented. It's mostly hotels, as you can see here, the convention center, some restaurants, but none of the restaurants are very good. So this one might work for you, but yeah, I just like other buildings more. Going a little bit further up is the Sienna at the Thompson, which is really nice. It's another hotel apartment hybrid where you share amenities with the hotel, from the pool, the restaurants. The gym is, you do not share the gym with the hotel, and you don't interact with hotel guests, but you have on-site restaurants, bars, deli on the first floor. You can definitely meet a lot of people here. I've seen a few famous comedians here because the Comedy Mothership is just like right down the road. Some downsides. It's pretty close to Dirty Six along here, so there's just going to be a little bit more activity when it comes to partying and kind of like people wandering the streets. And it is a bit more of like a commercial area than a residential area over here. Um, and from what I've seen, a lot of the interior of the building is pretty dark. So a lot of the hallways specifically just don't have a lot of light. I think it's kind of like a design flaw over there. But the units are very nice. They have some great corner units with great views facing all directions. Um, so this is going to be in the higher tier compared to a lot of buildings. So uh, yeah, put down on the list if you're thinking about higher end. Then we'll get into Rainey Street, and just a quick rant about Rainey itself. Rainey is the biggest double-edged sword of downtown. It's a lot of bars. This is just a one giant bar restaurant strip, and a lot of people come here to party. It's a big tourist bachelorette party zone, and there's just a lot happening here. On the other side, the friends that of mine that do live here and like it, they like it because they can just go along. They can leave the building and go along the Colorado River, go for a run, go for a bike, and just enjoy the outdoors. So even if you don't like partying and you do like just going for nice runs, then you could run outside the building and have access to the river, and the trails are right here. Um, Overall, it doesn't have a lot of like residential amenities. Um, there's no grocery stores here other than Royal Blue, which is more of like a high end, super expensive convenience store. So it's not going to give you like a classic neighborhood experience. You're going to have to leave to go over to East Austin or back to this residential part of downtown over here. So that being said, getting into the buildings, the Quincy is on the top of Rainey. It's super nice, pretty new. I think like about 2 years old as of this recording. They have really nice west-facing views. All of the buildings here, all the high rises with west-facing views are going to be super nice because you can get the river here and downtown. There's also a lot of one current downside. I think that only may last for a few more months after this recording. Is there's been a lot of construction in this area, specifically at these two buildings, which are going to be some of the biggest buildings in Austin. I think this one is so called the Waterline and the Travis. They're not open yet, but they're going to be opening soon. So most of the major construction is already done. So what used to be a major problem with this area is not going to be as much of a problem, I think, going forward. But there's still a lot of construction happening on Rainey. There's two different like mega high rises being built like here and here. But the amenities at the Quincy are really nice. Their co-working space is great. The units are nice. The pool, it's not rooftop, but it's fairly high up and does give you some pretty good views. So for luxury on Rainey, this is going to be one of the top two. I'll get to the top one shortly. Camden Rainey, mid-rise building, has a nice rooftop deck. It's a very nice building, has a lot going for it, but just knowing from personal experience, this is also a major party building because it's right on top of the bars and restaurants. It's going to attract the kinds of people who want to be near all the chaos and all the bars and all the partying. And that's kind of what this building is. If that's what you want, this is the great place to be. If you want something quieter, more relaxed, this is not the place to be. So I think that's kind of all you need to know. A little further down, this building is opening up right now as I record this. It's 700 River. This used to be like a craft beer bar with like a nice backyard music venue, and now it's a massive high-rise apartment. That's kind of the story of what Rainey Street has become. And it's kind of the reason I don't really go to Rainy Street anymore. It's just not as interesting. But it does have just a lot more apartments to choose from. Um, so you win some, you lose some. But 700 River, it's a really thin building. It's going to be really interesting. I've only seen some of the units. The amenities aren't even open yet. They're still like finishing construction. But I think the amenities are going to be really nice. They're going to have like a dog spa, sauna, cold plunge, and a lot of interesting stuff there. So that's still yet to be seen. But I've already seen a lot of the units here. The north-facing units have like a nice downtown / rainy view. The ones facing south and especially southwest are going to be beautiful views. In terms of high-end luxury, it's about on par or better than the Quincy. So I think these units are going to be pretty solid. So it really just depends on what you're looking for. Then is the Sky House. The Sky House is kind of another one of these party buildings. It is. They have fantastic amenities. One of my best friends lives here. If you can get something facing west, facing the river, facing downtown, it's one of the best views in the entire city. The prices here tend to be pretty good. And it does also attract a lot of people who like to party, especially because the rooftop pool is on the rooftop and has a fantastic view, so it can get pretty rowdy. Then right below it is the Windsor on the Lake. Even though it's like almost the same location, the Windsor on the Lake is not at all a party building. It's more of a low-key building. All the amenities are on the bottom floor, so it's just not nearly as dramatic or interesting as the other buildings. But this bottom tip of Rainy is a little bit removed from all the bars, so you do have some disconnection from that part of Rainy. But the main amenity is just getting to walk along the river. That's kind of all you're going to get. I don't have a ton of clients at least here, because it doesn't have a lot in terms of just ordinary residential amenities, but still worth knowing about. Going further up, you have, I'll call this the East 11th Corridor. So you have buildings like the Beverly, which is hit or miss, because where it's located right a river along here is mostly music venues and bars. So it does get pretty loud. And one drawback is the homeless shelter is like right around here. So it's a little bit too close for my personal comfort. But you can get some pretty good prices here, and you're in downtown, and you have good access to East Austin and downtown. So this specific area, there's actually another building I got put up here. Oh, there it is. So you have this cluster of buildings over here where it's both downtown and East Austin, and that's kind of what makes this area interesting. So even though this specific area around here is more government buildings, this part of downtown isn't that interesting, but it does have the Capitol building. It has the Waterloo Park, which is a nice park / music venue. This area, I kind of think of it more as an East Austin location, even though these buildings are in downtown, because all of the stuff that you're going to want to go to is going to be along this East 11th corridor. And this is my favorite part of Austin right here. This central East Austin, I really love it. I used to live in this area for 4 years. And it's this perfect blend of like cozy neighborhood, but still very alive, with action, but not too much action. It's kind of this like perfect balance, in my opinion. So this cluster of buildings gives you the benefit of having downtown access and East Austin access. So the newest one in this cluster is going to be the Waller. The Waller is super, super nice. The only downside of here is the units tend to be small. So if you need size, then this building may not be the one. Uh, the Alex in Waterloo right next to it may be a better option if you're looking for size, because Waterloo does have really good floor plans. And these two buildings, if you're going to see this one, you're going to see the Alex in Waterloo and the Avenir, because they're all built within like 2 years of each other, and they're all fairly new. They're all like really high luxury. I like them all. So the Alex in Waterloo, in comparison, has rooftop amenities. So rooftop pool, lounge, that face everything. It's super, super nice. Whereas the Waller has like middle of the building pool and amenities, which aren't as nice, but I think the Waller wins in overall aesthetics that I like a lot. It has this kind of modern Art Deco appeal to it, and they've got a Joe's coffee shop on the ground floor. So if you need a place to work, just working in the coffee shop could work really well. The Waller also has a really large gym and a lap pool. That's the only building that I know that has a lap pool. So that's one. That one's going to be really interesting. Then there's the Alex in Waterloo. They used to be managed by Alexan, who did not do a good job. But then they got taken over by Hanover, which is a great management company. So that's kind of where the reviews, they were actually much lower before, but they've been creeping up over the last year, ever since the Hanover took over management. And the Hanover is kind of just better at this business at managing than Alexan is. But I've had a lot of people lease at the Waterloo because of the floor plans, especially their one bedroom with den floor plans that are like over 1,000 feet, where you can get a really good hybrid of like living space and workspace all in one unit. You're going to see both of these if you see one, so might as well just group them together. Then there's the Avenir. This is probably my personal favorite building in Austin. I've had a ton of clients lease here ever since it opened. I think it's a perfect building in a lot of ways because it's actually not in downtown, and this is my bias, but I actually don't go downtown very often. I actually like this area a lot more because it's more my energy, my speed. But the Avenir, super nice, has two pools, one on the middle of the building, one on the top of the building. They have like a jumbotron for football games and watching TV. Really nice, like work amenity deck on the top floor, and the quieter co-working zone on the second floor. They have an indoor basketball court. It's the only building in Austin with an indoor basketball court. Two gyms, a strength gym and a cardio gym. The units are really nice. I personally like the east-facing units, facing this part of Austin, because it's quieter, it's relaxed, it's really nice. The main problem with the Avenir is a lot of the west-facing views face I-35, the highway, which gives you a lot of road noise. And if you're high up enough, then the road noise won't be a problem. But if you're lower, like 10th floor below, facing downtown, then highway noise will be a problem. So moving on from there, I'll highlight a few buildings that are also just outside of downtown, but should be worth considering if you're looking at downtown. So here's the Catherine. The Catherine, super nice high-rise, rooftop bar. It's the only building with a bar. They have stunning, stunning views of downtown and facing west. If you can get something here that faces downtown, it's going to be one of the best views in all of Austin. The pool isn't very good. It's on like the middle floor facing this direction, so it doesn't have like a nice view. It has like this hotel concierge type experience that I think contributes to the really good reviews that it has. My main issue with the building is the location, which has some good parts. Like it has access to Auditorium Shores right here. You could get to the river really easily, but you'll notice around here there's just not a lot in terms of like restaurants, coffee shops, just ordinary neighborhood stuff. You're gonna have to go to like South Congress or get into downtown. So it doesn't have a lot of stuff in the immediate area going for it. Then there's the 1155 Barton Springs. This one is a really cool building. It's like a high-end mid-rise, like a tall high-end mid-rise, smaller community. You have huge floor plans in the like 15 to 2,500 square feet. And I think this one's really interesting because it's a really cozy, relaxed living experience. You could walk along this part of South Austin, eat at Terry Black's. You can get to Barton Springs and Zilker really easily. Quick drive or run or walk. You have the Butler Metro Park right here. So location wise, it's really cool. It's relaxing. The units are super nice, smaller, quieter community. So if you want a downtown experience, but you want to be slightly outside of downtown and where it's more relaxing, but still feel like you're part of all the action, this place is really nice. So I think that about wraps up everything that I want to cover for downtown Austin. If you found this guide useful, I help people move to Austin. I've helped 500 plus people move here. So reach out to me on my website or the link somewhere on this video, and then I will send you my latest guide, market report on downtown, and help you find a place to live. I'm free to work with. So hit me up, tacostreetlocating.com, and I hope you found this useful. See ya.